affirmation. This goes swimmingly, as they say. So I'm on the way to the gym, training heavy, Cage, which is like my least favorite. But they say it's, I watched the Impulsive episode with Liver King, and he talked about training heavy, so I got inspired. Bro, name out there knows what I'm talking about. But
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I was in the city today, came home, we'll do it after. We got a lot of stuff going on. I got like registration. Call Andrew. I'm like, hey, I got a half-hour window, and then later I can't do this. He's like, all right, to hell with it. Let's just do it right now. We'll do it from the car. This is the perils of doing a show every day. We do try to fit it in for you guys. So he's gonna heavy lift. I hope we don't bore him too much. With my topics. I got to keep you energized. I'm the pre-workout. I'm the pre-workout.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. I'm just wondering how many consecutive right plays I'm going to give you and the audience before I get acknowledgement.
What's this one? Drew Holiday? Bobby
Words
Portis?
Words of affirmation are my love language. You guys know that. You guys out there know that.
How about this?
He left. He left. Words of affirmation are my love language. He says, all right, how about this? And he pieces. He gets a lot of text on episodes. So what I'm talking about is, if we go all the way back, Tyler Hero. Tyler Hero was my claim to fame. It was my first, Instagram fame where people were making fun of me, mocking me, making memes of me. And the dude went off.
Yeah.
Then I said,
I'll give you credit for that.
A bubble championship.
I always give you credit for that. Yeah, and you did say the bubble championship. You did. 100%. So I'll give you credit for that. 100%. But we're back in we're 2.5 years ago now. 2 years ago.
I've known you for that long.
Yeah, man. Fuck. More than 2 years, definitely. I look at the prices of some things that I want to buy now, and I'm like, wow, I should have bought those in early 2020. It didn't work. Didn't work out.
Some things you look at the price off, and you're like, good thing I didn't buy them in 2020.
It's a good thing I didn't buy them in 2021, is what I say. It's an interesting thing how that works, right? But listen, here's what I'll say, and I want to hear about your wins, and I love giving you credit for wins because especially in basketball, which it seems to be where you're going, you watch the games. You do, and I'm not saying that as a joke, but you understand the game, and you definitely have the right calls. Betting perspective, you name it. It was you who said that the Grizzlies are better without Ja. Oh wait, that was me. Okay, but besides that, listen for a sec. You ready, guys? Very, very quick, because it's a tough week. It's tough in the market. It's been tough for a little while in the market. I got people posting stories that just say ha ha. You're poking people, there's different ways of investing. And, I guess some people's way of doing content is just to kind of kick people while they're down and that kind of stuff. So I know a lot of you are down. So I'm going to tell you a story about a guy I know, right? I'm going to tell you a story about a guy I know. Just to kind of, set you in the right mind frame, Andrew, because you sometimes, you get down in the dumps too. You're in the doldrums. Right? I should have made this trade. I shouldn't have done this. And you get stuck in your own brain. And I know some of our listeners are also. So I have this friend, and she'll let you know. Some people's trash is another man's treasure. You got to look at whole deal. People. I got a friend who he has sex 3-4 times a week. He works out twice a day. Sounds good so far, right? Works out twice a day, sex 3-4 times a week. And he still finds...
You got to get those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers, Cage.
It's 3-4 times a week, 2 workouts a day, and he still finds time to complain to me about being in prison. So... you can't put it on mute. People want to hear you laughing, man.
That's so dumb.
So anyway, guys, listen, I'm just trying to make you laugh.
Who did that make feel good? How does it make you just a joke?
Yeah, it's just a joke. It makes everybody laugh. It makes everybody laugh. It is what it is.
That Dark Knight? That Dark Knight scene when they're under the tunnel and then there's that truck and it says laughter is the best medicine?
Mm-hmm.
It's sort of true.
Listen, in some instances, if you don't laugh, you're going to cry. what I will tell you is, we've been talking about diversifying portfolios. There are people out there who are screaming over Luna and over shitcoins and over crypto and over all these things because they are over leveraged in these things. I guess what I would say is, don't be so quick to dance on somebody else's grave, right? Don't be so quick to, to sit there high and mighty looking down on somebody, right? Because, there are swings in this, right? And, while crypto is going great, maybe something else isn't. And while crypto's going bad, maybe this is the week where NFTs and crypto people are taking their lumps. But maybe next week, a light will be shined on how pumped and inorganic and garbagey the ticket market is. Graded tickets maybe, or video games.
Well, it's gonna be time out. It's gonna be houses.
Or houses. But I mean, we don't really know too many people with houses.
That's going to affect everybody. And the people that shit on other people for losing money, they don't realize how interconnected money systems are.
That's right. 100% right.
So, but the whole Luna thing, a lot of it. So, Cage, we've been in crypto for a while. We've been in NFTs for a while. We talk about it. We want to learn about it. There's curiosity. I don't know a single person who bought Luna.
Yeah, me neither. It's a little fake. It's a little like, but I mean, there are people who did. Actually, Jeremy Padala.
There are, but do you know who bought it? It's Jeremy VCs. Padala. And the reason it's such a stink, it's not because it's retailers losing money. It's because it's the rich people losing money. The poor people always are meant to lose money. They don't give a... But when it's the VCs losing, then it becomes this whole big hurrah. When it's the blue checkmark brigade losing money, then it becomes, oh my God, what? That's who's Luna's affecting.
Listen, I mean, I think it is an amazing thing that you pointed out. Forget about Luna for a second. It's that it impacts everybody, right? So I did this fun thing because I was thinking about, potentially buying another house, right? You mentioned this on one of the shows, like, hey, pivot into real estate. I was potentially thinking about buying another house. And just quick math. I don't want to get too crazy with you guys. We'll get into the sports cards. We'll get into all the fun stuff. I trust me. I will. We have to talk about the Celtics Bucks game last night. We have to spend some time on that. And I have.
Always talk that. We never talk macroeconomics anymore because we have one upset fan.
Well, so here's the deal, right? It's when I was looking at this, if you go back 2 months ago, you could get a mortgage for 2.75%. Right? So just keep that in your brain. 2.75%. Now it's over 5%. But for the sake of, of fun, I'm just going to tell you, it used to be 2.75% and now it's 5% for a mortgage, 30-year mortgage. Just over the last couple months. That's what's happened.
30-year mortgage.
Rates have gone up because of inflation, because of everything you name. The rates have gone up. All right? Let's just say I wanted to have a $2,000 monthly mortgage payment. That's what I can afford. That's what I want to spend, right? So if I have a $2,000 monthly mortgage payment, at 2.75, I can buy a $500,000 house. I can buy a $500,000 house. At 5%, to keep my payment the same $2,000 monthly payment, I can only buy a $400,000 house. My buying power is actually cut by 20%. That means I can't spend as much. That's inflation. That's the impact of rates. And that is a real world example of what has happened over the last 2 to 3 months with inflation and with the increase in interest rates. It's important. Now, Andrew, before we get into sports cards, I'm going to give what I consider the play of the day. All right? And maybe people will listen to this, maybe they won't. All right? You can't make hundreds of thousands of dollars on this. You can't. Okay? But you can make guaranteed money. And it is a guaranteed hedge against inflation. Guaranteed. Right? Guys, I want you to look up something called an iBill. You have to buy it directly from the government. Okay? You have to buy it directly from the government, and you can only buy $10,000 per year of iBills per
Treasury
Social Security
bills.
number.
Treasury adjusted.
But the I.
Have you been listening to
inflation?
Dalio?
No. I actually bought these in January for myself, but you can buy for every Social Security number. So you can buy them for your family. You can buy one for your wife. You can buy up to $10,000. I bought $10,000 worth.
This is how Luca Nation. You know how I know this is a good tip? It's because Cage didn't tell me about it when he first bought it. All of Cage's best tips are when he doesn't tell me about it. But you can do this.
There's no tip. No, but it's no. You can do it now. It's actually.
I already lost all my money on Luna.
No, but it's better to buy it now because the inflation rate at 8.34%. Now the iBill is paying 9% with a lock of 6 months.
I'll stop cutting you off, by the way.
6-month lock right now at 9%. So whatever money you put in, you're guaranteed to make 9%. Now in the hobby, I know people are going to scoff at that and say, come on, 9% doesn't even pay my card fi bill. 9%. I'm going to go to a card show this weekend and I'm going to go buy a Herbert, and then I'm going to go to the show next week and I'm going to sell it for 400,000% more than what I paid for it. Maybe so. But if you're looking for a place to just put a little bit of money that you have laying around, you don't need this week and the whole 9 yards, we very rarely talk about something that is locked in, guaranteed, it's a rate, and it's going to be more than inflation. That's one. Like I said, you can't put your whole net worth in there, but you can buy 10,000. It's not something you could buy through a broker or anything like that. There's a website for it. So if you want, you can message me and I'll send it to you. But I just wanted to give that little tidbit, because with inflation going crazy, there are things that are indexed.
Are you really getting a lot of DMs?
Yeah, I get a lot of DMs from people. But what's funny about it is, I'm going to distill the DM down to 2 sentences. I'm thinking about leaving the hobby because it's not fun anymore. I'm not making money like I used to. End scene. Now, I make fun and I make light of the investor versus collector thing, the whole deal. But they would have a field day with that. Because what they would say, and partially correct, is, well, if you were in this just to make money, and if making money is the only part of it that's fun, then this is not the space for you. This is not, you shouldn't be in the hobby. Now, that's oversimplification. Obviously, everybody has fun when there's money to be made. The question that I would have for you is, why are you not making money anymore? What were you doing? What brought you in? Was it some nostalgia? Were you having fun in any parts of it that weren't completely tied to trying to 10x your money week over week? If you came in because this was just the hot area, this was just the, hey, I moved here from sneakers, or I moved here from mug life, I moved here from garage sailing, and there was quick money, and, if that's you, you might want to leave. You know what I mean? If there's nothing else that's going to hold you here through, let's call it a drier spell, or there's nothing here that makes you want to do research, to actually put in time, and try to find a niche, try to find an area, try to find something that is undiscovered, then sure, go, there'll be something else. There'll be something else, and, you can chase that. It was NFTs, it'll be something else. The people with NFTs will move their money to something else next. That, you want to chase that, that's fine. But if there's something that ties you to this, whether it's, you played Pokemon as a kid, or you loved Kobe, or you collected with your dad and now you want to, or your mom, and now you want to, build a collection of the cards that you collected when you were a kid, and at the same time also dedicate some of your money towards potentially, making some money, flipping, you name it. Nothing wrong with that. Love it. I think it's great. And this is kind of what I say to folks too. I don't want anyone to leave. You know what I mean? I love all the people who message me and listen, but if it's really just, hey, I'm only here because it was a great way to 10x my money month over month, and I can't do that anymore, I have to be honest with you, it's probably not going to happen. It's not supposed to happen. It's not sustainable to happen the way that it was. And that's why you see the charts that are boom, straight up, and now on their way back down. As a matter of fact, more people are losing, than gaining, if they're thinking they can just buy something and turn it around for a profit. It's difficult to do that. So yeah, I do get a lot of messages, and that's kind of the summary of it. Am I saying anything wrong to people? Should I temper that message a little bit?
The best investors in the world don't even make money all the time.
Correct.
If everyone could make money all the time, it wouldn't be a game, right? Like if you're always winning.
And they make 20% a year. And when they make more, even if it's not the hobby, when they make more like crypto has, or like the overall market has, making 30% year over year for the last couple of years, guess what happens? This week happens. A correction happens. The prices come back down, and they work their way back up. It's not just cards. It's everything.
It's stating the obvious. Like we're all competitive. We're all, we want to win. We want to have success in life. We want to achieve. Achievement looks different for everybody. But if you were always achieving and you never had any failure or any discomfort, would the achievements even feel as good? So I agree. I love to win. I love to win. I think the question that's behind the question is, are we in the right space, right? Because you want to at least know that you're on the right road, right? You don't want to be driving down the wrong road.
Yeah. Listen, to say that there was never a 2-year period like the hobby saw over the last 2 years is not a lie. So, if somebody came to me and presented, No, I mean, listen, there was a huge, influx of people in the hobby in the late 80s and early 90s, and there were a lot of people there, but, the prices of cards didn't 10x the way that they did. The price discovery, you couldn't have it because there wasn't grading, and you also didn't have all of these ancillary sports where people were just finding the new thing all the time. It was baseball cards. And then there was a little bit of basketball cards, right? And okay, maybe there's some, but there wasn't F1 cards that could fuel the next leg and pick up where the soccer pumpers. I mean, the people who liked soccer and collected soccer, they did their soccer thing, and now the F1 thing after they did the Pokemon thing. It just wasn't that. Sure, there was a good time. Sure that people were making money in it and there were a lot more participants in it, but never a period like we've just had of just pure prosperity and euphoria. So it would be reasonable if somebody presented an argument to me to say, you know what, this is not repeatable. It's not sustainable. And, maybe it never happens again, or maybe it doesn't happen again for 20 or 30 years. I mean, I can't tell you that that's not the case. I can't. I hope it's not. I hope it's not. But we've I guess that depends on keeping people in, and keeping people entertained, and continuing to develop new stuff. But I got to tell you, I scroll Instagram the last couple of weeks, and I'm reminded of the late 80s and early 90s. Even cards that are PSA 10, even cards that are, I see people posting, PSA 10, the basketball players, and Patrick Williams and James Wiseman, and I think to myself, like, okay, this was what I did as a kid too. Like, I collected Jerome Walton and Dwight Smith. I collected, Steve Carsey. I collected, Todd Van Poppel, Scott Erickson. Guys who were good, guys who were rookies and they were going to come up. Raul Mondesi, his cards sold for more than Derek Jeter. And if you who, Rondell White, Dimitri Young. I mean, you know him.
White.
No, Rondell first. Then Rendell was in football. Rondell White was a baseball player. He played for I think the Expos. But yeah, I mean, listen, I mean, I
how come you don't tell them the full story, Gil Cage?
What's the missing part?
Leaders and millionaires and billionaires, I believe they're made during times like these.
It's possible. It's very possible. They say bear markets are where generational wealth is made, but I don't know whether or not collectibles as an asset class have bear markets. You know what I mean? Because we just, we haven't really seen.
Are you speaking to the sports hobby overall, or our community? Because our community, I believe, comes to us not just for sports cards. I believe 80% of our value is sports card driven. But I do believe there's 20% that wants us to talk about alternate other ancillary investments that are similar to sports cards but outside.
Which is why we give inflation indexed bills as a play instead of just LaMelo Ball. No, right? I mean, listen, every once in a while you have to. I mean, Gary V, 10% of our audience likes him. 50% of our audience likes him. 10% of the hobby likes him, and 90% doesn't. But, the dude did say 99% of NFTs are going to fail. He's been saying that since the beginning. The dude did say that, ultimately, most of the people that we're collecting now in the modern and ultra-modern world are going to end up outside of the top 50 NBA players, outside of the all-time greats, and will not have any collectability. Because even some of the all-time greats in the 50s, the top 50 guys are not collectible. Ray Allen, Chris Bosh, Tim Duncan, I use all the time. I mean, nobody cares. Nobody collects them. And, some of the guys that people are chasing now, they can only hope to have those kind of careers. So it's what we're saying now, what we're seeing now, kind of like a right sizing and a, reevaluation, I guess. It shouldn't come as a surprise. I mean, I would love it if every card I own just continued to 10x, but it's just not the way it works.
So this year, so tell me if true or false. Sure. Gold and PWCC auction houses have either begun accepting cryptocurrency or it's on the roadmap.
No, they definitely Golden accepts and will pay you out in it. Definitely. Amazing. I think PWCC does also.
Digital collectibles are on the rise. And whether that's NFTs or Panini cards or Topps cards, there's more of them now. than there were 5 years ago.
Definitely.
Cool.
More
PayPal.
than 5 years
People
ago.
have had issues with PayPal for large transactions. True or false?
True.
Amazing. We could go on and on. I'm not going to bore you guys. So did you know that in 2000 or 2001, when the market crashed, Amazon, which was all-time high of $100, do you want to guess what its low price was after its correction crash?
$20.
$6. No. It took 15 years for it to come back and hit all-time highs. But if you believe it in digital currency and cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, all the way down to the last one, wouldn't it behoove you to buy Coinbase stock?
No.
Proceed?
No, I say no.
That's my play. If your treasury bill, mine is Coinbase over a 20-year period.
I mean, they're a first mover, but keep in mind, Amazon wasn't. And Amazon was a bookseller when it started off, just like Netflix was just delivering DVDs to people's houses by mail. You never know what Coinbase is going to try to morph itself into. And right now, the reason why, besides the overall crypto market, the reason why the Coinbase stock is down is because they had a horrible earnings, losing hundreds of millions of dollars that just came out of nowhere after beating earnings last quarter. And they gave bad guidance. And more importantly, they just released their Coinbase, NFT market, and no one joined. They had like 150 people join it. So they spent a ton of money this quarter rolling that out with the anticipation that they were going to get some of the crazy money that OpenSea was getting in, and probably built that in, cooked that into their books on their expectations. And none of that's going to come because they're opening the NFT market while the NFT market is dying. So you might be right if you're saying, hey, I'm going to dollar cost average and buy a little bit every couple of weeks for the next year, for the next 2 years, and then it's a 10-year, 20-year hold. Sure. I just think there might be some more pain than what we're seeing now. I don't ever like buying in the day after a huge collapse. And they reported earnings the evening of the 10th after hours. Yesterday was their big drop, a huge precipitous drop. And today is, some might argue a dead cat bounce. We'll see what happens tomorrow and over the next couple of weeks. I wouldn't lever in, if you were, save some dry powder.
So we're a watch list type of podcast. So we'll never tell you when to buy or what to buy. But I will tell you things I'm looking at myself. So you can buy whenever you fucking want. Like you could wait for 3 more months and today it's 50, you buy it at 85, fuck it. Okay. I didn't get it at the low of lows, but at least the dust settles. It could go from 50 to 20 easily.
Correct. Yep.
The bleed, I still think Bitcoin's going to hit 20,000. I think the bleeding is going to continue.
It's funny. A couple of days ago, Andrew and I had a conversation about Bitcoin when it was at 35. And he's like, what do you think? And he says, well, I think it's going to go to 50. I go, could you go to 15 just as easy? And it might actually do it. And now today, we're thinking it might go to 20. It's amazing how it happens. And it's not that you changed course. We had a conversation about that, you'd never know. Question. Yeah, you never know where it's going to go. You know what I mean? You never know. I mean, crypto right now, the people who are in it remember, you worked in the space. So the worry right now is that the overall, crypto space might disappear. Just like the worry back in 2008 when Citibank was $4 a share was that it might go bankrupt and the entire system was going to crash. Just like in 2001 when the whole markets got crushed after 9/11. It's the same kind of thing. There is that panic. So I get what you're saying. You might as well take advantage of that panic, right?
But there is... It's funny how history does the same things. I guess people also do the same things. Like the whole crypto space would disappear. We've heard that every single time it happened.
Yeah, but you're not telling people to invest in multiple crypto plays. You're telling people to buy Coinbase. There are people who were in the exact same spot in 2008 as what you're in now who said, you know what, this is not going to go anywhere. We saw this in 2001. Go buy Bear Stearns. Buy Bear Stearns now because it went down. It's down. It's down 90%. Buy it. If you Coinbase might be the one that they allow to fail. Maybe Coinbase is the one that goes bankrupt. I scared them away. Anyway, it's a little interesting thing, but the market is crazy this week, guys. We're dealing with an interesting market where overall macroeconomics are down. Everything from Netflix stock that we started talking about it being down last week or a couple weeks ago. Stock market's down, crypto's down, obviously ultra modern cards, have had a little bit of a bad run in the last, few months. And I guess, Andrew's point, which is, twofold. Number one, if the overall markets are down, the ability to spend money is not there for people, right? That makes it difficult to continue to spend money. It makes it difficult to buy in. It makes it difficult to do, to sustain prices of all assets, including cards. But I guess his thought is, and I kind of like the Coinbase play. I'm a little nervous about jumping in immediately. That's the gold rush play that we talk about, right? You don't have to invest in gold. You can invest in, the pickaxes and the pans, invest in the companies that are going to make money off of the gold mining, not just on the gold itself. I'm hoping Andrew comes back on, but if he doesn't, I usually only have like a couple minutes before he, the thing disconnects when he's not on. So I'll do my spiel here on the Celtics and the Bucks. Pretty straightforward. What a game. Whether you're, a Celtics fan or a Bucks fan, interesting stuff. I will say that there's a show at Fenway this weekend, Costa Cards. They're doing a Fenway show this weekend, and had Boston held on and won last night, Tatum's cards might have been a hotter deal there. But now you're gonna. All right, he's back on. I just jumped into Celtics and Giannis, and I said I just started. I said, hey, the Boston show this weekend, it would be interesting. But what if by the time the show is going on and in full blast, the Celtics are out? You know what I mean? What if Giannis, and the Bucks go back and they handle their business and the Celtics are out? It's funny how that one game can be a very big difference if you're a dealer holding Tatum cards up in Boston of the Fenway Park show. So what are your thoughts on that series, that game, you name it? And by the way, I gave you some credit because what I compared your Coinbase play to was when we talk about the gold rush, you don't have to invest in gold, but it's a company that is going to make money on like the pickaxes and make money ancillary. Because whether you're on the positive side of a trade or the negative, people are trading. People are trading crypto, they're trading all this stuff, and Coinbase is going to get the money from that. So I get it. Trust me, I do. Not trying to
first off,
poo-poo
my
it, man.
phone. You ever get the message like a temperature warning?
Yes. Yeah. Well, usually when I'm out in my yard this summer.
It
overheated?
We were spitting fire.
Wow.
That's what that means.
All right.
The easiest thing to do is click yes on a trade. I was taking it a step back with all my questions. As do you really think, after everything you've seen and heard in 2013, 2017, crypto is dead? Do you really think crypto and digital currency is dead, or is what your eyes and ears telling you that crypto's more adopted now than it ever was? Forget Coinbase or anybody. But
it's definitely more adopted than it ever was. But I think
it.
Also there are more attacks on it than ever before. But I think you're right. I think even in 2018, the last time this happened, people were saying, all right, crypto might go away. I don't hear a lot of that now. I hear it's getting beat down, but I think most people realize that it is here to stay. So I hear what you're saying. I definitely do. So
what do you want to talk about
Celtics,
with the
Bucks.
Celtics?
I want to know what your thoughts are about the end of the game. I want to hear what are your predictions now. We were talking, by the way, when Andrew and I spoke, the Celtics were up by about a dozen points, and what he said to me was, "Well, they're not going to win this game. It's very hard to win in Boston. They're not going to go out there and win this. It's very difficult to win in Boston. But don't worry, they're going to go back to Milwaukee. They're going to win Game 6, and then it'll be a Game 7. It'll be interesting." And what I said was, hey, why don't they just go out there and win now? Wouldn't it be easier for them to go win Game 5 and then go clinch it in Game 6? And Andrew says to me, yeah, Cage, it would be easier. But, the other team has something to say about that. I don't think Boston's just going to let them go out there and win. And Boston's beating them. And then all of a sudden, look, hey, they got it done. Bobby Portis, the Crazy Eyes Killer, and Holiday. So, shoot. You forgot we had that conversation, didn't you?
Yeah, I gotta tell you, man, the way I could see how Hollywood celebrities get frustrated with media when they take their words out of context.
That's a whole conversation.
It's maybe the most
context. That was I almost repeated it verbatim. You said, and you got me. You said, hey, Cage, of course they'd want to go out there and win this game, but how can the other team's got something to say about it. So, but what do you think?
Little kid just. What did I just think? I think what I've thought this whole time. Like, I think Giannis is the best player in the world, but by a long shot. Not offensively. I think offensively he's a little bit below, maybe Embiid, but he's right there with him. He still gets his numbers. He's still working on his shot. But defensively, the guy's just insane.
He is a stud. Did you go out and buy a Giannis 1 of 1 and then start talking him up? Is that what we're? Did you buy like a really expensive Giannis card and then really start pushing
Did you
Giannis?
get a DM about that? No.
No.
Yo,
I'm
I
just
got the
wondering.
best DM yesterday. So,
Yeah, let's
some
hear it.
guy who listens to our show, he was like, "When are you gonna get back in the game?" Cause I don't post my cards, right? I've never been that guy. I have a few cards here and there, but you know what I did? I reactivated my Mamba's fadeaway account, so I'm gonna start posting cards. I actually bought 3 of the cards I recently bought. I'm gonna take some pictures with them, because
There we
apparently
go.
that's what people do.
Yeah, you gotta
But
show
no,
it
I don't
off.
own any on. I don't. I
You know what
just
usually?
no, dude. And my shit is never. I don't know the card market as well as you. But I know players, and I've just talked about how Giannis is elevating his game year after year after year, where the other guys either are staying stagnant or on a decline. LeBron, Durant, Curry has improved, but not as much as Durant as Giannis has. And Jokic and Embiid don't have the killer instinct that he does. And by the way, if you guys haven't heard Giannis' story, Disney's making a movie about him. You saw that, right?
I mean, why wouldn't they?
A street merchant in Greece selling things to provide food for his family. Incredible story, man. And I love guys like that. I love to root for guys like that. And I think he's head and shoulders the best player in the league. And then he's surrounded by some badass motherfuckers like Bobby Portis, Drew Holiday. Brooke Lopez is better on defense than I could ever understand. And they're just a gritty team, man. And they talk about this like the heart of a champion. That used to mean something, you know? A real champion, it's hard to dethrone a champion.
Right? Yeah,
And
that's right.
that's
You
what
gotta
you're
actually
seeing.
take the belt. Okay, so flip it to the other side because you mentioned Steph. Did they just take the night off? What the hell happened there? And should the Grizzlies go out there every day without Ja?
I'll be a good cheerleader.
I mean, that may come back to bite him too. You know who I love?
What did I see?
Draymond. Draymond dancing.
Dancing.
Whoop that trick. Which, by the way, Hustle and Flow, great movie. Terrence Howard, you've seen
Very
it.
weird series. Very weird series. I mean, what can I say about that series?
Say whatever you like.
It's hard to draw. It's hard to draw any conclusions from it. I think any conclusion would be an overreaction.
What I'll say is this. When they get to the next round, the Warriors, because I do think they survived this, obviously, with Ja being injured. I think they just took the last gasp effort from Memphis. I think they'd go home. It's different energy there. I think Memphis came out on fire and, they just kind of packed it in. I think they'll win there. Jordan Poole has to be a better version of Jordan Poole for them to get past the Suns. And yes, I'm assuming the Suns passed Dallas. And the version of him that was there when Draymond, Clay, and Steph were not on the court. It's weird, but what I see with Poole is he could be a star, but he shrinks when the other guys are there. Maybe it's because he doesn't want to step on their toes. Maybe it's because he doesn't think he has to do anything. And maybe it's just his youth. But he is that guy. He has to be that guy, especially in games where the other guys are just not on. You know what I mean? And I'm sure that'll happen. I'm sure that, part of it is Steve Kerr not there and the whole deal. But yeah, I mean, for them to get past the Suns, they're going to need their full complement, everybody kind of on there. And I have not really been too impressed with what the Warriors have done here.
I agree. I think this is I think that's the God honest truth. And what I think would be the best lineup for them, but I don't think that they would do it, was when Curry would come off the bench right after he got back from injury, because Poole and Curry are sort of the same player.
Mm-hmm.
Clay is weird. Clay's this guy. He's just gonna shoot. He's this guy.
Yep.
He's gonna get his shots. He's gonna put them up.
Yep.
But Poole and Curry are very similar. And I think Poole's still young, and he plays better when he knows he's going to be the number one guy.
Correct.
And he come right out the gate.
And when he comes off the bench, he's still out there.
On.
Exactly. Curry, believe it or not, coming off the bench is like, all right, I'm here. I'm getting my shots. I'm still going to score 30 off the bench.
People need to realize coming off the bench isn't easy physically, because you warm up, then you go sit down for like 30 minutes, and then you have to come on and have instant impact.
All right, so give me your predictions. Every series has gone at least 6. You think what? Miami closes it out?
I think this is the best playoffs I've seen in a long time. I enjoy it thoroughly.
So
Dude,
give me it. You think it's going to be Suns, Warriors, Heat, Bucks?
Yeah.
Okay. Anything final? I got to go get my kid. Guys, this was a fun one.
I've said Suns, Bucks basically. Well, I mean, Bucks have been my team. They said they're going to win a championship. I think Suns Warriors is just an incredible series to watch.
I think the Suns can get past the Warriors. I think if the Suns Bucks, I think the Bucks win again. Because the X factor on the Suns, believe it or not, is DeAndre Ayton putting up his 18 to 21 points and getting the rebounds and getting the second shots on the games.
He should be able to put up 30.
He should, but you have 30. Booker and you have these guys, and he definitely should against Dallas, because who the hell is Dallas putting up against him?
Right.
Bullock, right? And the Warriors also have nobody with Loney, but Giannis and Lopez is a different story. That's a bad matchup for them. And because the Suns have nights where they're not shooting well. And they're protected because Ayton is towering over people and getting them second shots. And by the way, don't miss the forest for the trees in this. I used to think the coach was garbage. Right? I said, the coach doesn't do anything. There's a very big difference when Steve Kerr's out there and when he's not with the Warriors. But even better, Monty Williams, great coach. Do you know what he did the other day when Ayton was kind of dogging it out there and he was basically like, not going up and getting the second shots and the team needed him to do it? He benched him and he put Bismack Biyombo in, because he knows by putting Bismack Biyombo in, the guy's going to play for 10 minutes and give maximum effort and be bouncing all over the place and getting and you could watch the film. Monty walked down to Ayton. He said, "See what this guy's doing? See, he's bouncing all over the place, getting us second shots. You got to do that." Ayton went back in the game and dominated. Second shots, you name it, the whole deal. That's coaching, right? It's those little things. That's why that dude's the coach of the year. But
you watch the games, huh?
I try to, because otherwise you're going to tell me I don't. All right, dude. Listen, this has been fun. We'll see what happens. Dude, the parity
super spot on. Super spot on. If you look at Ayton's numbers from this round for relative to previous, they'll back up what you just said. He's not as aggressive.
I mean, and he will have to be. He if they're playing Giannis. The Heat, it's Bam. He's got a huge height advantage. You know what I mean? Giannis and Brook Lopez, very different story. Booker will have to be on. And we've seen Booker in the finals. Sometimes he disappears. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Enjoy your workout. This was the pre-workout.
Wait.
2 minutes. You got it. Go.
Kings, 2 minutes. Kings stay losing. How bad do the Warriors look with Mike Brown? How much of a failure has Mike Brown been as a head coach? And the Kings hire Mike Brown.
The Kings hire him. That's pretty crazy. By the way, I predict the Avalanche to win the Stanley Cup. We're gonna have to clip that one when that happens and they don't lose a game. They're looking phenomenal for anybody who likes hockey. Austin Matthews, big goal the other night too for the Leafs. We'll see what happens there.
Is hockey more like baseball, where it's like momentum entering the end of the year?
Yes, because in baseball, your momentum is only as good as the next day's starting pitcher. And in hockey, your momentum is only as good as your goalie is going to perform that day. I got to bounce. Love you, Luca Nation.
Peace.
So thank you all for listening to another episode of Lucas, Tigers, and Bronzo Mai. I wanted to tell you about a new service that we have starting as of today, and I'm really, really excited to bring it to you guys. So as a part of our partnership with SGC, we got 50 free submissions every single month, and many of you have taken advantage of that. And it's amazing that we could have the opportunity to 650 episodes, 675 episodes in, to go ahead and give back to our community. As people were sending those cards in, they asked, can we send 5, 10, 20 more cards to you guys? We'll pay for it, but we wanted them graded with SGC. You guys know SGC is turning cards around in 13 to 14 business days, have incredible customer service, and their secondary market values are going up day after day after day. And that's exciting for the hobby and exciting for the grading landscape. So we didn't want to just rush into it. We wanted to do it right. And what we did was I relocated here to Boca Raton, Florida. I opened up a P.O. box maybe 5 minutes away from SGC, and I will be hand delivering and hand picking up the cards. So you don't have to worry about anyone else touching your cards. It will be me and I will update you every step of the way. So here's how it's going to work. I'm going to personally pick up the cards from a PO box, prep them, new card saver, new penny sleeve, and deliver them to SGC every single Tuesday. Why Tuesday? Well, it lets the stragglers over the weekend come back through on Monday and gives me a day to prep, and it basically gives SGC the entire week to work on grading those cards. Once your cards pop, only then at the end of the process will you be paying for the service. It's $25 per card, simple as that, and the turnaround times have never been faster. We're hearing right now 13, 14, less than 20 business days. So there it is, 9170 Glades Road, number 135 is the P.O. Box in Boca Raton, Florida, 33434. 9170 Glades Road, number 135, Boca Raton, Florida, 33434. Of course, you could shoot me an email or shoot me a text anytime, and I'm always available. Many of you already have my email. It's iamandrewgoldberg@gmail.com, or my cell phone number, 215-519-9154. Reach out with any questions. I could walk you through the process. I've hopped on the call with quite a few of you, and I'm happy to do that. Love you, Luca Nation.